For more on this, we're now being joined live by Michael Owens from Georgia. He is the president of U.S. Global Center for Cyber Policy. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, of course, tectonic changes announced the social media sector of the United States. Talk to us about the far-reaching consequences of this decision, and essentially what does this mean for the way the Trump administration now converses with the American public?
But, this has potential to have far-reaching consequences, and it's potentially one of the most consequential things that we've seen recently relating to censorship and how, Meta as a platform has focused on how they say they want to handle freedom of speech. Meta is positioning themselves, in this where they say they are commitment to free expression, but that also could lead to potentially false and misleading information, and that can remain unchanged. Now, unfortunately, former President Trump has constantly had battles about this and even gone to his own social media platform, Truth. And, it's been really challenging as we think about how we move forward and making sure that that platform from Meta is something that will still be enforced by community standards that, are making sure that we don't have harmful content, making sure that there's protection against hate speech or violence, and make sure that we're relying less on, the third-party fact checkers to verify everyday posts and news. I think it's needed. Unfortunately, or it's just a reality that when many people see something on the internet, they see something on Facebook, they believe it as fact. And so having the necessity there to have fact checking, that we can have confidence when we read something that it has been fact checked, is very important. So not being able to have that is going to be huge. The implications of misinformation is almost unfathomable when we're dealing in a time to where the news cycle is so fast and there's so much information that's constantly coming out, especially in areas like elections, public health, and climate change, where there's a higher propensity to have conspiracy theories that are out there, where the average consumer really needs information that they can trust.
Right, Mr. Owens, you clearly mentioned that this move perhaps raises questions on the authenticity. But Zuckerberg, during his announcement, he said that more free speech and fewer mistakes. I want to seek your assessment if this move by Zuckerberg is perhaps to stay on the right side of the president-elect before the inauguration day, because we've known in the past that Facebook had banned Trump after the January 6th Capitol riots.
Yeah, there's a history with trying to determine what side, the good side or bad side of Trump that Mark Zuckerberg is on. And they've had times where it seems they've been rather friendly and times where that relationship has been rather cold. Obviously, you can't discount the timing of something like this when it comes to President Trump and how he reacts to wanting to make sure that he has control over the media. And, that's probably the scariest part about this. And, a lot of the work that I do is in the cybersecurity space and ensuring that we protect and have integrity, right? Confidentiality around data and making sure that there's integrity. And that means making sure that the data that you are reading, that you can have faith in it and that it's validated and it's been verified. And it's very problematic to me sitting here now that by not having this, it only adds fuel to those, as I mentioned before, to those conspiracy theories or just misinformation that will be out there, which unfortunately President Trump in the past has seemed to relish in. He seemed to, has known to be a little free with telling the truth in scenarios. And so there's concerns, a healthy amount of concern, the timing of this and the past information that we've seen or past actions that we've seen really leads us to a place where we really have to wonder, where we're going in the future and how much of an impact this will be. Look, there's billions of users worldwide they have. The shift in this policy can significantly impact how information is consumed, but more importantly, how it's interpreted. And, that's really what I think is at stake here.
Absolutely, Mr. Owens. I also want to expand on that a little bit. Of course, misinformation being the most obvious consequence of this move. That being said, what would you say could be a better alternative to perhaps supplement the community notes to eradicate that?
I mean, it's tough because what happens is when you start to have erosion of public trust, when you have credibility that's being damaged, whether that's already been done in the past or something that's happening in real time, um, there's you do have to look for other alternatives. I always encourage people to look for second and third sources of information. Not to take anything that you read at face value. Whether that is information on Facebook or anywhere else. Look for information that you may not be able to find in any other well-known outlets. Are you going to your favorite news channel to try to determine, are they reporting it as well? If maybe if this is the only place you're seeing it, it may not be true, because as we know now, without it being fact checked, it definitely could be less reliable sources of information. So go to credible outlets, go to more than one outlet. But my concern is even further than that, because again, when we start to think about, this election just ended in the United States, when we start to think about further elections around the world, you look at items like potentially voter manipulation, misinformation about candidates or about a candidate's policy. If those things go unchecked, it definitely can impact, have global impact on different elections, as well as foreign interference.
Right.
We know that elections around the world have been interfered with different entities, and we want to make sure that we have credibility, and we have outlets like Facebook that can remain and hold that credibility.
Right, Mr. Owens, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA and sharing your thoughts and insights on this story.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.